Hey guys. A little Lizzo here. Just gonna wait and see if anyone's hopping on. Oh, excuse me while I feel myself. See me okay? All right. Too shaky here. I'm playing a little Lizzo in the background. All right, let me go into the group. Welcome you guys to day one of the Fantasy Body Project 3-day masterclass. I hope you guys are excited. I am so excited. It's finally here, day one. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Let me see if I'm in the group live. This video is live now. Let's check it out. I am. Oh, okay. All right, so let's get started. Now, even I want you guys to just take note of some notes that may show up on your side for this stream. I'm streaming from StreamYard. So StreamYard is going to ask you for your permission to stream your comments into our live right now. So go ahead and give them permission so that I can see your name when you comment and I know who I'm talking to. And I'm looking at my phone at the same time, so I can see you guys as well. I can see comments through there because I'm going to have my presentation up. So while I have my presentation up, I may not see the comments, but I'm going to be checking, back here and there. So thank you guys again for joining. I'm so excited. Again, it's day one of the Fantasy Body Project. Even if you watch this after the recording or you're watching it now, I really want you guys to be actively participating and really engage in the content and what we're talking about. Ask questions, ask as many questions as you want, put them in the chat. During my presentation, I'll also give some time for Q&A as well. If there's anyone who has any questions, still pop them in even after that. I'd love to answer all of your questions for you as well. So first question I want to ask you guys before I even get into my presentation is, you guys, like, what really brought you here? Why are you here? I'm going to pause Lizzo. What brought you here today? Like, what is it about this idea of creating your fantasy body? What brought you here? What have you tried before? Why are you here today? Why is this intriguing to you? And let me know. And again, you guys can comment, give StreamYard permission so I can see who it is that's commenting. But I really want to know, like, what has brought you here to this point? Where are you at in your journey when it comes to your transformation? Where have you come from? And what are you ready to, like, really release in order to really gain this dream that you have of becoming your fantasy self? Like, I really want you to sit back and ask yourself that question. What is it that I am willing to finally release and let go? Because to be honest, you guys, that's where it all started for me. It was truly about being ready to finally release and really taking stock of where I was, right? Where I was in my life, what was working, what was not working, and really taking an honest look and seeing, like, where it was that I wanted to go. And there were a few things that really were the catalyst for all of those things. For me, as you guys know my story, I made the transformation to lose over 100 pounds by now, and really transform my body into a body that I truly love and appreciate, and that it feels easy now to support and to continue to maintain. And not only did I create a body that I love and a fantasy, I built this fantasy that I just truly have fallen in love with, but not just in my body, but in all aspects of my life. This has gone into all aspects of my life. This has affected all aspects of my life. So one thing that I really want you to think about when you're really thinking about creating your fantasy self, I want you guys to open up to the idea that, okay, sorry, just making sure I wasn't muted because I'm like, did I unmute? Sorry. I want you guys to open up to the idea that this is going beyond your physical body. This truly is going beyond your physical body, making a transformation that is permanent, a transformation that has ease, a transformation that is fun, a transformation that is sexy, that is just like lively and just feels alive. It really takes you stepping back and asking yourself, what is it that I want to feel? How do I want to experience my life? And where do I want to take this and beyond? These may be hard questions to answer and questions that you may not have been used to being asked or even thinking about. So I don't mean to overwhelm you, but I really want you guys to see this beyond just physical. And I'll talk about this in my presentation as well. You know, where you've been and where you are right now, notice what hasn't been working and just be totally open to, I want to try something different. There's no rush for me to get there. There is no there, and there's no rush for me to get there. I can make it on my own time because at the end of the day, you're improving, you're making progress. That's getting there. Every day that you make progress, every day that it feels easier and lighter, and you start inspiring the people around you and you start changing the life that you have around you, is getting there. So always remember that to you guys. So just take a moment to think about all those things as well. And let's get started on our presentation. So let me share my screen here. Give me a moment. Share screen. Let me show. There we go. All righty. So here we are. And I apologize if I'm not staring at the chat because I am already live here on my presentation. So, but I'm going to have you guys open as well in on my phone so I can see what's going on, what people are saying, comments, and everything. So this is the Fantasy Body Project. So where did this start? This is a real question, right? Like, where did this idea come from for me? And I will tell you guys exactly where it came from. So this is where it came from, you guys. So this program is really 10 plus years in the making. And these are some pictures of me before. The top left picture is myself and my son. He was probably, yeah, he was a year old here because I remember this was my niece's 1 year birthday and they're just 1 month apart. So he was a year old. Look how handsome and cute he looks. And that was me. I was a postpartum mommy. I probably was about 230, 40 pounds there. So that was me. And I remember waking up um that day going to this birthday party, and I remember it so vividly, like just thinking to myself how stressed I was about finding something to wear that covered my body up and made me feel more comfortable and just um made me look slimmer and all of those things. I remember it so vividly, and I just remember just like that just uncomfortable feeling. I also remember like sweating profusely. I had like pits, under my arms and everything. But this program has really been 10 plus years in the making. I struggled for years losing weight and regaining it. I spent so much time trying to shortcut the process. And I'm sure so many of you guys are so familiar with wanting to shortcut it, right? What's the fastest way, the best way that I can do this? Just pushing through it. And even if I made made this magic scale number, I still was unhappy with my body and I hated how I had to get there, right? I had to deprive myself. I had to just suffer through these diets that I just hated. And it was literally just like I felt like a ticking time bomb all the time because it was just like me holding out, holding out, holding out, and these crazy diets. I was doing low carb, fasting type diets, just all kinds of things, you guys, low calorie diets. All of this in order for me to get to this magic scale number that I felt like I needed to reach to feel happy and to feel comfortable in my body, right? To start living. But Nonetheless, I was still unhappy and I hated what I was doing to get there. And after I had my son, and then especially after I had my daughter down the line, I just realized like I can't do these things anymore. I do not have the time. I don't have the strength. I have a child to run after. I have a life to live. Like I could no longer put myself on calorie restrictive diets, over exercise, and on top of that, try to work a job and have a child. Like it just wasn't working. So I was still in the mindset of like, okay, what is the next best secret diet that I can implement to make this weight just come off quickly? But worst of all, even of all of this, you guys, was that I could not maintain it, even if I got to a certain number, because I was always actually pretty decent at losing weight, but I could not maintain my weight. It was like I felt like a balloon, like ready to pop. Like put a needle in her, one bad meal, one bad weekend, and everything was just going to hell. And I would just be right back at square one within a few weeks to a few months. And so that was a really frustrating process. And what I noticed, you guys, is that it became harder and harder to lose the weight every time I would go back. And I'm sure many of you have that same experience where you've been doing a lot of the same things over and over. And it seems like it's just getting harder for you to get to where you want to get to. So here's the thing, there is an endless amount of information online about how to lose weight. Yet, most people, a very vast majority of people, are not maintaining those results permanently. And just to give you guys some statistics, we're dealing with a $78 billion industry, US weight loss and diet control market. 95% of diets fail, and 90% of begin being the common rate of regain. So 95% of diets fail, and 90% of people who manage to lose the weight end up regaining it. And that is my story to a T. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this. And talk to me, you guys. Let me know what are the different things that you've tried or that you've done to lose the weight. Like, where have you been? What have you tried? I would love to hear from you guys because you will also find that many of us we have commonalities as far as what we've been through and what we've tried. So I really want you guys to use this time to really share because many of us need to know that we're not alone. That it's not just us. It's not us. We're the problem. It's the industry that we've been groomed into, so to speak. It's the mindset that we have been put into in Western society when it comes to our attitudes about food and how we view food. And that more of that will come later on in this week as well, because you guys, there's just so much to learn about your mind and your body and the connection and your environment. There's so much to learn. But so I started looking at things differently. I couldn't keep doing the same things anymore. And this again is my son. I believe he was about 3, almost 4, maybe. I think he was about 3 here. But and this is me at a water park. And again, you guys, I when I look back at old pictures, when I see myself, I just remember the feeling that I see when I look at these pictures. It's like all I remember is trying not to be uncomfortable in my body, trying to cover up, trying to compare myself to other people at this water park. Oh, well, I'm not as big as her, or oh, is anyone looking at me? Or don't take pictures of me at this angle. These are all the thoughts that even now I vividly can feel and see, and it makes me really sad. But saying that, I want you guys to really even just think about your life right now. What are the thoughts that you have currently in your body? How do you feel? What is your awareness about your body right now? All of this is going to make play a key role in making this process easier and really building that fantasy self that you want to have in your life. So I want to do things differently. So I started looking at what I desire versus what I was living. I was constantly stuck in what I was in the present. My mind was constantly stuck in who I was now. I wouldn't allow myself to see beyond that. All I was stuck on was the negative self-talk that I had about myself. I was always wanting to just get rid of who Kim was right there. Get rid of chubby fat Kim. I just want to erase her. I just like everything will be better if I just like lose the weight, right? And feel like I was just always constantly trying to hide and make up for this negative self-image that I had about myself. And I was constantly discounting myself as well. I couldn't see the positive aspects in myself at all. And one of the biggest things that I would always do, or the thoughts that I even had that I wasn't even realizing is what I was doing, and you may find yourself doing the same thing, was saying, I will be like this when my body is like that, right? I will have this, or I will do that when my body is like this. So, oh, I will, go to water parks and wear a swimsuit when my body is like this. I will go ahead and get on an airplane when I'm below so many pounds. I will go to parks. I will go skydiving. I will do all things. I will take myself to certain places to shop or do things when I'm a different weight. Or, we always wait until our bodies or our who we are is something else before we decide to give ourselves joy or to enjoy our life. And that was is exactly what I was noticing that I was doing all the time, was that I was constantly in this state of, I cannot be happy, I cannot have joy, I cannot be these things that I want to be. I can't be sexy, I can't be confident until I lose X amount of weight. And it's absolutely false. It's 100% false, because we all can see examples of people who live the complete opposite life all of the time. We can see people of all colors, all sizes, all genders, all kinds of roles who exhibit all of these things that we want to have when we get to this goal weight, right? Confidence, sexiness, all of those things. None of those things have a number attached to it as far as the scale. That is totally irrelevant. And that's what it was, something that I had to realize. And I had to stop stopping myself from having joy and living a life that I was happy with because my body wasn't where I wanted to be. So again, you aren't chasing a number on the scale, ladies, okay? The scale number is completely irrelevant. The scale number is just information towards a bigger picture of who you want to be. This is very difficult for most women to grasp onto, and most people, period. But really, with women, I feel like we are so attached to some number that we feel like we have to be in order for us to feel validated or to feel like, okay, we're okay, right? And the scale number means so many different things. And in my journey through weight loss, like, the number on the scale really truly almost meant nothing. It was just a little snapshot of information that showed me where I was or where I was going, but it's not everything. So detaching from that scale number and having a little more, being a little more relaxed about it, is really so important. So that number on the scale is completely neutral, because 150 pounds on this girl will look totally different as 150 pounds on another girl, right? It's totally irrelevant. So let's start looking beyond the number. So let's sit back and really think about, and I want you guys to take note right now. You can type in the chat, you can have it written down in your own notebook. How do you feel about your body now? And what beliefs do you have? Um, oh, I forgot to put do. That's okay. And what beliefs do you have? So on the left side, I have feelings that you may have about your body. And again, you can add to this, but I really want you to be conscious of the feelings and thoughts that you have about your body. And also, what are your beliefs that you have about your body? So if I go on the left, I have embarrassed, weak, gross, ashamed, and ugly. Now, I want you to really sit back and think about, how do those thoughts, those words make you feel? How do those thoughts and words make you feel? Does it give you a motivated feeling? Does it give you a feeling of, I can do this? Does it do any of that? And as well, on the right side, what are the words and phrases that you commonly find yourself using? And this may not be something that you are used to doing, you guys. And that's the beauty of change. Change really, the big chunk of change and making a transformation is about being aware of our thoughts, aware of our behaviors. That is a big chunk of making that journey go faster, making that journey feel easier. That is a big chunk of it. Just be having awareness of yourself. So many of us are on autopilot when it comes to the thoughts that we have about our body, the words that we say to ourselves. And I want you also to stop and really think about that. When you see these words on the screen, where you see these phrases on the screen as well, I want you to imagine your best friend saying those things to you. Just just for a second, think about the person that's closest to you, even a parent, a brother, sister, or a good friend. Would you allow or sit back and say nothing if your best friend was saying these things about you? You're embarrassing. You're so weak. You're gross. You should be ashamed of yourself. Man, you're pretty ugly. Like, would you be okay with that? But think about it. We sit back and we say these things to ourselves all of the time. We have this negative autopilot self talk about ourselves all the time, and we think it doesn't matter. But it does matter because our thoughts that we have trigger our feelings, and our feelings trigger our actions. Once you understand the chain of that behavior process, you will really take more seriously the way you talk to yourself and talk to yourself and the words that you use. So again, I'm so fat. I'm too old. It's too late. Like, how many of us have said that once you reach like over 30? Oh, that's it. I'm 30 now. So, there's no hope for me. Oh, I'm a mom now. I don't have time. Like, all of these stories that we tell ourselves, because really at the end of the day, they all are just stories. I could never give up X. I love food too much. Like, I have a friend, she constantly says that about a particular food that she likes. I could never give up my ex. I could never give up. And really sit back and think about it. Could you really never give up? What if they stop making it tomorrow? Could you really never give it up? No, you just don't want to give it up. You just would rather not. You're uncomfortable with giving it up. But being aware of our self-talk and the stories that we tell ourselves, you would probably laugh or probably be extremely sad if you really sat back and thought about what you say to yourself on a daily basis. And again, use this time to really write down thoughts that you may have and really think to yourself, and allow yourself to be aware of how you talk about yourself when you walk past a mirror, when you see yourself, when you take pictures, what you allow people to, oh, only get me from the neck up. Like, what are those things that you do and the thoughts that you have about your body? Super important. Awareness is everything. So again, your thoughts are powerful, and they carry emotions. Your emotions inspire you to take action or inaction. So again, when you have a thought, those thoughts are attached to then feelings that you have. When you have feelings, it makes you take action or inaction. It makes you do things. So I'll give you an example. So if I have the thought of, oh my gosh, I have so far to go to lose this weight, that makes me feel discouraged. When I feel discouraged, oh, am I going to get up tomorrow morning and go work out and go to the gym? Am I going to take that 10-minute walk? No. Why? Because I'm just like, I'm discouraged. What's the point? I have so far to go anyway. I'll just start another day. Like, really think about the processes and pay attention to when you have a thought about something, what's that feeling that follows it, and what tends to happen after that, as far as the action that you take or that you don't take. You guys, I promise you, this is probably the most powerful method that you can enact in your life. Paying attention to your thought and emotion cycle. It is so important. I still use it to this day. There is no never doing it again. I've done it recently. I've used this thought. Like, as you guys all know, I lost my dad recently, and I was really going, through it, as I should be, right? I'm mourning this going through the mourning process of losing my dad. But as well, I found myself getting out of, my usual routine and my habits that I of healthy habits that I have that help me feel better and put me in a better place. And to a certain extent, that's to be expected and it's normal. But I said to myself that I was just going to give myself a certain amount of time, and I was going to say, okay, Kim, you got to get up and you got to keep moving. And so I remember being in the car, and I told the story in my stories the other day, but I remember being in the car just the other day, and I said to myself, "Ah, great, when I drop the kids off, I'm gonna go home and I'm just gonna lay down. I just want to lay down. I just don't want to think about anything. I just don't want to be present in the world right now. I just want to go to sleep." And I remember I said to myself, I promised myself that I was going to go make my workout and do my work and get ready to present this class. And I remember sitting in the car and pep talking myself and talking to myself, like, okay, Kim, what really is in that bed for you? You don't feel good now, yes, but if you go and lay down and go to sleep, you're going to feel even worse when you wake up. You're going to be mad that all this time has passed by. You're going to be short on time to go to your work. You're going to be short on time to do your prep work. You're going to be short on time, to because you have to go get the kids. You are going to be mad that you didn't take all this care time out for yourself. It's just going to make it worse. It's not making it better. So these are the thought processes that I had to take myself through. But so often, most of us, we stop at the feeling part and let the inaction or action follow and have no thought about it. But I really want you to get used to having a thought. There's nothing wrong with having a negative thought. It happens, right? We're human beings. Have your negative thought, but pay attention to that feeling that you have. Ugh, do I like that feeling? Is that feeling pushing me forward? Do I have momentum in that feeling, or is it making me like want to contract and not do the things that I promised myself that I would do? And then ask yourself, if I don't do this, how am I going to feel? Take it a step further. If I don't keep this promise to myself that I was going to commit to walking 10 minutes every day after work, or 20 minutes, whatever it is that you committed to. If I don't keep this commitment to myself, how am I going to feel? And you'll find like you'll see like there's a lot of feelings that are going to be attached to that, and a lot of other thoughts going to be attached to that. So great. So if I know that, how will I feel if I do keep this promise to myself? That's even more amazing. If I do keep this promise to myself to take 15-minute walks after I get home from work every day or before I go to work, whatever it is that you choose, how am I going to feel if I keep doing that over time, over time, over time? Like, I'm going to feel probably really proud of myself. I'm probably going to feel like really pumped. Like, I'm probably going to want to walk further, you know? And I say this too, guys, because this is exactly where I started. I started with those thought process. I started with those small promises to myself, and I worked through that emotional process, and I worked through that feeling of pride, that feeling of joy, and that feeling of, well, if I can do this, man, what else can I do? It's so powerful, you guys. It is so powerful. I really, really encourage you to try that. So your emotions matter. I don't want you to feel like your emotions are an enemy to you. They are not. Your emotions are information to the work, the things that you're thinking. That's information to the things that you're thinking. So instead of using your emotions against you, I want you to really feel empowered and start using your emotions to work for you. All right. So, how can I change my emotions? You're probably asking. Like, what can I do to make myself feel different, Kim? Like, I mean, I am where I am. What can I do to feel different? What am I supposed to think? How am I supposed to go about this? So, one key thing that I remember very vividly doing when I finally committed to myself and I made that transformation and I really took it to like it went lightning speed fast. This works, and you all have probably heard it before, but it's called gratitude. I made sure that I had gratitude. Without gratitude, you guys, it's like you are constantly working against yourself. Gratitude. And I'm going to pull up because I wish I would have put it in here, but I'm going to pull up the meaning of gratitude for you. And I actually found a meaning the other day that I really, really loved, but I forgot to post it in here. And I want you guys to use that. Gratitude defined. So gratitude is a quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for, and to return kindness. Gratitude is such a powerful tool that you can use in your life, and it's one of the most amazing tools that constantly, again to this day, that allows me and shows me. Okay, I hope you guys can still see me. Um, can you still see me? Okay, cool. I'm still there. Sorry. It showed up like I wasn't there anymore. So, gratitude is such a powerful thing. Gratitude is probably one of the fastest ways that you can shift your emotions. And remember, gratitude is a thought, right? It's a thought about a thing. It's a thought that you have that has emotions attached to it, and your emotions will trigger different behaviors. So when I have gratitude and when I show gratitude to myself, that is the fastest way for me to get out of a negative headspace and for me to truly like get back on track. It really is, you guys. Take time and write out like things that you are grateful for when you wake up, or even when you're feeling like you're feeling down. Either you're telling yourself negative things about your body, about yourself, or feeling like discouraged. Just take that time to show gratitude to yourself. And Dr. Joe Dispenza, he's a neuroscientist and he's done some really deep, incredible work. I really implore you, if you can, to look his work up, even on YouTube, watch his videos. He's incredible. Um, but he's done a lot of work in regards to gratitude, the mind, and the body connection, how we can use gratitude to heal our bodies. We can use gratitude to do things that are just beyond what normal, typical medical science has said is possible. But there's so much more power basically in our thoughts than we give ourselves credit for. And that's what it's about at the end of the day. So having gratitude. So what does gratitude look like? It's gratitude is basically saying positive things about yourself and pointing out the positive in yourself. We're so used to pointing out the negatives in our bodies, the negatives in ourselves. It's just on autopilot. There's a study, and it says it was like a 2005 study, and it stated that we have about 12,000 or something crazy like 12,000 to 20,000 of the same thoughts every single day. And you guys, 80% of our thoughts are negative. 80%. 80% are negative. That is major. That is so major. And they're the same thoughts that we keep repeating over and over again. So if we're having the same thoughts every day and they're that many and they're negative thoughts, can you imagine what behaviors obviously that we can see follow that? As we can see, the behaviors that follow that are negative, unhelpful behaviors or inactions that keep us where we are. So, super important to have gratitude. So, what does that look like? So, gratitude, um, let's have new thoughts. What new thoughts do you want to have? So, you can even just ask yourself, what are new thoughts that I want to have about myself that have nothing to do with whether or not I am where I want to be or anything like that? What are the thoughts that I want to have? And I want to have thoughts that I'm proud of my body, I'm strong, I'm beautiful. And really stop and think about those things. We're like, well, I don't feel strong or I don't feel beautiful. But there has been a time in your life, there's been a time in all of our lives when our body has been strong, that we've been proud of what our body's done, and that we felt beautiful. There's always been a time like. So go back to those times. Go back to that space where you felt that. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am proud of my body. And when I sat back and I thought about the gratitude that I have for my body in the very beginning, and again, it started off with a prayer, you guys. Like I remember having this prayer, and I sat down, had this prayer, and I said, God, like I'm really just tired of dieting. I'm tired of like fighting with my body and fighting against it. I am so grateful for the body that I have. I'm so grateful for everything that it's done for me. I was thinking about my kids, the fact that I had birthed like two beautiful babies and I had healthy pregnancies, healthy births. Like my body is fucking amazing. Who am I to sit here and talk bad about it and tell it mean things? Who am I? I freaking birthed a human. What have you done? No, you know what I mean? That's like a funny uh like meme or something that's going on, or a soundbite that's going on, like I made humans. So I think about that too. Like I've made whole human beings. Like my body can do anything. Okay, like I am here, I am present, I am breathing, I am walking, I am talking. I can do anything. I really can do anything. And even I'm beautiful. Like there are times when you feel beautiful, right? It doesn't have to have anything to do with your body. What are times when you feel beautiful? I feel beautiful when my hair is down or when I put on my makeup, or I actually feel I love my shoulders. Let's say you have that thought about you, or my decolletage, or I have really great legs. Like that has nothing to do with when I lose weight or when I get to this number on the scale or XYZ. There are parts of your body right now that I guarantee that you love and that you like. So take note of that and emphasize that. That's what I did in the beginning. I would go work out at the gym, right? And I was still very overweight, but I would dress myself in clothing that complemented my body now. And I wear big baggy clothes and try to cover up my whole body and go exercise because there were mirrors everywhere. I knew there were parts of my body that I did like, and so I emphasized those, and the other parts I just made it, as comfortable as possible. But I started off like that and I built upon that. I started appreciating those parts of me. I started showing gratitude to those parts of me. And as I did that, my confidence really started to grow, you guys. I promise you, my confidence really started to grow because I wasn't focused on the things that I didn't like or I didn't want. Because only thing that's going to happen when you're focusing on the negative is you're going to get more of it. You're going to have more awareness of it. It's going to show up more for you. But when I focused more on what I liked and what I appreciated about my body, the other parts of my body started catching up, which was strange, right? Like the other parts of my body started catching up with me because I stopped worrying about them. There are, to this day, I have parts of my body now that I'm just like, ooh, I wish they could be different, but I don't focus on them. I said they're going to come along in the time that they need to come along. I'm going to figure out to have some focus in that area, and it's going to come along when it's going to come along. Until then, I'm going to love XYZ about my body. And it works. And I carry myself in that confidence and I act in that confidence. And it just helps me accomplish more and accomplish more. So have that same outlook, have that same mindset when it comes to yourself and how you feel about your body. There is something that you love, something that you're proud of about your body, and that you can show now that you have. So again, some phrases and words that you want to use that are opposite of like our previous slide that we have that were negative thoughts. My body is aging gracefully. This is a thought that I have even more recently adopted, was that I'm now getting like past my mid 30s. I'm 36 and my birthday's coming up, I'm gonna be 37. Oh my God. And so like I have kind of these negative thoughts that want to creep up about getting older. And I said, you know what? This is just a thought. This is just a thought that I have. It doesn't mean anything. There are plenty of people who live the opposite of this thought that I have and that I see in my life every single day and that I admire. I can just adopt the same attitude that they have. And so one of the ideas is that my body's aging gracefully, right? I have those thoughts. I have the thoughts of like, I'm getting better and better as I get older. And I truly am getting better and better. When I really look back, I'm like, damn, I really am getting better and better. I'm really getting better mentally, emotionally, physically, all of those things. I want to keep using that momentum. I'm useful. I'm just naturally useful. It doesn't have to mean anything in a number. I am a useful person. I make time to take care of myself. Saying that is so important because it's such a common thing that people use as an excuse to not take care of themselves, is that, oh, I don't have the time. Oh, I just like, hmm, we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? That's not true. We all have the time. My time literally started off with 15 minutes on the elliptical that I probably did for a few weeks straight, a month straight, until I was like, you know what? I want to do more. I kept that commitment, but I had time, and maximizing the time that you have, right? And I could go into more detail about all these things, so I don't want to like super bore you guys, but um, there is always the other side of the coin when it comes to any of your thoughts. There's always the other side of the coin. Nothing is true unless you make it true. Another thought, I enjoy feeding my body healthy, delicious food. So instead of saying something like, oh, I can't give up cheeseburgers, I can't give up French fries, it's just tastes so good. Well, okay, fine. I'm not going to ask you to totally get rid of that thought, but I want you to adopt the thought that you enjoy feeding yourself healthy food and it makes your body feel good. Like that's really a positive thought. That doesn't feel restrictive or hard. That's a thought that feels like, oh, Yeah, I do. There are some fruits that I like. There are some vegetables that I like, and I like feeding myself. I actually haven't paid attention to it, but I actually do like the way that I feel when I eat those kinds of food. I feel lighter. I feel like not sleepy. Like having that self-awareness, having that sense of following through with your actions and your thoughts and physically how your body feels is so powerful and so useful. Okay, so now the next thing was I needed to build a fantasy. You need to build a fantasy, right? Like, how are we going to build this fantasy self that we want to have, right? Because we feel like we are where we are and we've tried everything. So, how do we build this fantasy self? So, let's first define what a fantasy is. So, a fantasy is something that is produced by the imagination, an idea about doing something that is far removed from normal reality. That is what a fantasy is. So, an idea about doing something that is far removed from normal reality, right? So, where you are right now, you've created a sense of a normal reality. So, a fantasy is something that is not quite physically present, it's not manifested, it's something that is outside of what is manifested in your normal reality. So, and why I love the word fantasy is because fantasies have no limit, right? You can go anywhere with a fantasy. You can dream up anything with a fantasy. You truly can. And to be honest, any and everything that we look around and we see, it all began with a thought, with a fantasy, with art, with an imagination. So understand that your imagination, your fantasy is something that can be turned into reality. But it's up to you to start conjuring that fantasy, to start allowing yourself to have fantasies, to give yourself permission. You know, most of my clients, most women that I know, they don't even allow themselves permission to have a fantasy or to think of anything outside of the normal reality, right? Because we have been so conditioned to be like, oh, be realistic, face reality. But reality has already been created. Realism is already here. The point of all of us humans is that we want to evolve. And that means using our imagination to conjure up something new that we want to create about ourselves or about the world around us. That's what makes the world go round. So I don't want you to be realistic. That shit has already been created. It's boring. Don't be realistic. Be absolutely outrageous. Be fanciful. Be all of those things. Just think totally outside of the box and be boundless when you think about what you want for yourself. Because being realistic is boring. Like, okay, realistically, I want to, just lose like, a few pounds and if I just get here, then it's good enough. Is that exciting to you? Is that exciting? That is not exciting. That is not exciting. I don't want to act on that. I don't want to act on being realistic. I've seen it. I've done it. Like, that's not inspiring. I want to live something and reach for something that I've never had before. So I'm giving you guys today permission to truly live your fantasy. Live it right now. Give yourself permission. No one has to know about it. I didn't tell anyone about the person that I wanted to be. I didn't tell anybody about who I was trying to become. I just kept living that fantasy in my mind and started taking those action steps of that person that I wanted to become. And slowly but surely, she started showing up. She started showing up. But the joy for me wasn't in that getting there. It wasn't in, okay, now I'm there. It was that process, you guys. It was that process in between. It still is that process for me. It's that pushing myself just a little bit and thinking that, ooh, can I do it? But knowing in the back of my head, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. I just got to push my mind and push my emotions past that discomfort. But I know I can get there. So I want you guys to be open to just creating any fantasy you want that has nothing to do with anyone's opinion but your own. Okay. All right. So before we create the fantasy, you guys, I want you to imagine like a child. Everything always goes back to me to being as imaginative like a child. Like when you think about kids and when you really think about like how full of energy they are, how they create things, just how just lively they are, you guys. There's some key factors that I find are just always present. And I always want to keep that childlike mind and childlike heart when it comes to anything that I'm trying to accomplish. So, no self judgment, right? Kids don't have self judgment about themselves. They are just their crazy, wild, whatever, whomever they are selves. They're not trying to be like the next kid. They are themselves and they just want the world to see them, right? No self judgment. They have a limitless imagination. Children have limitless imagination. Their imagination is just so out there and it has nothing to do with reality. They do not think about reality. Reality is probably like right part of the inspiration, but they let their minds just really take off and like wild things, right? It's just thinking about your kids alone or nieces and nephews or young kids that you're surrounded with. Like when you watch them play or listen to them talk, like it's just so fun to listen to their imagination or even just watch them how they play because it's limitless. They are resilient. Kids will fall down, they get hurt, but they still get up. They get up and they just brush themselves off. They're not telling the story to everyone. Do you remember that one time when I fell off the jungle gym last week? They totally forgot about that. They got the scab and everything, and they're like, what? They forgot why they even got the scab. Like kids are so resilient and persistent, right? Kids are so persistent. Like, oh my Lord, I have very persistent children. Excuse me. For example, my son, he is so persistent. This kid does not care what your reaction is. He does not care how you feel about it. He is going to persistently go up after what he wants until he wears you down. And I love that trait about him. And I just love the idea of just being persistent towards your goal. You have to be persistent and seeking fun. Like it's always about seeking fun. If you're not having fun, if I'm not having fun in the process, I don't want to do it. I don't want to feel like, oh my gosh, like I gotta do this now. There is always some way to make the thing that you're trying to go after make it a fun experience. And that's what I've learned as well from my journey is that I have found ways to make it so fun. I have chosen things to do that make it so fun. And a lot of the fun too is about the people and the environments that I surround myself with. You have to build an environment around you to create your fantasy. You have to build an environment and have people around you to feed into that. This is not about doing it alone. Okay. So, before we go into actually creating this fantasy self, right? The fun part, right? Your muses. I hope you guys are ready. Before we go into that, I want to do a breathing exercise. So, why is a breathing exercise so important? Why is this important? Well, breath work, if you know about it, is our breath is everything, right? Our breath, the regulation of our breathing in our body is connected to so many things. It's connected to our digestion, it's connected to our stress levels, it's connected to our blood pressures, it's connected even to our food cravings, it's connected to so many things. Our the way our brains function, our breath is connected to that. So before you go into a space of wanting to create this fantasy self, right? That we're going to do right now on our live. I want you guys to take a moment. We're going to take 2 minutes and we're going to do breath work, some breath work. And this is something that I do if I get overwhelmed or if I'm feeling like I need to calm down or just because I want to sleep better, even. This is so good for sleep. And I've even taught my kids this as well. So I'm going to take 2 minutes and we are going to do some breath work on here. And I will show you exactly how we're going to do that. Let me go to pull up some music and I'll explain to you guys how we're going to do this. Um, so what you're going to do is you're going to take 5 breaths through your nose. Not 5 breaths. You're going to take breathe in through your nose for 5 seconds, and you're going to breathe out for 5 seconds. This combination is super important. It has to be in your nose and then out your mouth. Just the way the cycle goes and how it's going to affect your body is really important that you do it in this way. And it's going to be all the way full deep breaths and letting it all out within 5 seconds. We're going to do that continuously for 2 minutes, and then we're going to jump into our work of creating our fantasy self. Mm. All right, let me pull up some music for you guys. Mm, mm. Uh, da. Hopefully, this doesn't have any talking in it. Ba-ba-da-ba. All right. Hope you guys can hear this. All right, so I'm gonna take 2 minutes. I'm gonna pull it up here and just allow yourself to just relax um, and really just feel it. Just feel it. Just like release everything. Don't worry about having any thoughts. You don't have to think about anything. You just literally just have to breathe. And I remember doing this in Mexico when I went to a meditation, and oh my God, it was so powerful. I mean, we did it throughout the whole meditation. This is only going to be 2 minutes, but I want you to practice this as one of your methods to stay calm, in a positive mindset, and just to regulate like negative thoughts as well, like just to stop and slow down your thinking, because that's where imagination breed. It's in your relaxed state. It's in your mind when you are fully relaxed. That's why at nighttime a lot of times you can find that once you're relaxed from the day, you tend to have more ideas and more thoughts that come to you. It's because your body is in a more relaxed state. So this is just an active way to put your body into that state. So we'll start now and let's go. All right. Okay, so time is up. Like just doing that right now, just you seem like my voice calmed down even, and like my body just feels really relaxed. Like I just started noticing too, you guys, whenever I do breath work, I started noticing like shifts in my body too. So notice how when you are aware of your breath, how like, like my shoulders relaxed and I even like started getting looser in my body. So all of that is affecting like all of our body systems. So so important, like and so powerful, such a powerful tool that you can use to feel more connected and feel more grounded and to move into that space of like your imagination, right? So let's go. I'm talking so quietly now. It's so crazy. But yeah, it just has such a calming effect when you do that really simple breath work. So let's go back into it now And let's start creating our fantasy self. I hope you guys are ready. I'm super excited for this part. Okay, so step one of creating your fantasy self is, and this is one of my muses, one of many muses that I have shared or have used over the years in my own transformation. Her name is Francesca Casimir. She's a fitness influencer, but for me, in the step one of creating this fantasy body that you want to create, you want to choose a muse that physically inspires you, right? And go for the max when you're choosing the body that inspires you. I want you guys to choose something that really pushes you beyond just, your normal limits, as much as you can. And trust me, your muse may change over time as well. And you can have more than one because every muse has a different energy. Every inspirational person, it has a different energy that it brings. And I'm going to talk more about that, what that means when I say like it has a different energy. So choose your muse and pay attention to who you already follow and admire. That's one way that you can um, choose a muse. So in a sense, those people you've already chosen. You just don't realize that these people are inspiring you or that you watch them all the time, right? It's not something that's necessarily a conscious thought in your head, but we all have people, and either it could be a celebrity, it could be someone that it could be an influencer, an actor, a singer, whoever. It can be any person that you find yourself gravitating towards when you think about, man, if I could have that body, if I could be that person, be any person, that would be like the prototype. And for me, I always loved athletic bodies. I always loved athletic bodies. I always wanted to be like super fit and tight and like have this like athletic look. There was a period of time where I was just wanting to be skinny because it was like the trend, right? I think it was like in the early 2000s and stuff. um yeah, it was like this super skinny trend, and I did that for a while, and it was awful. I was like, wow, not for me, not for me, and I couldn't maintain it. So that's one thing. So I really want you to think about not just like what the trend is, but truly like who would you want to aspire to be like, and long term, not just what looks cool now or what everyone loves now, because there are people and muses that I have now that are technically not the prototype for what's popular right now. It's not the prototype for, what's in, like, the fit look like this. It's kind of gaining popularity, but it's not necessarily the prototype. It's like really all about that curvy look right now, tiny waist, big butt, all that kind of stuff. So choose your muse by paying attention to who you follow already, and seek out success stories. That's exactly what I did when I started really picking up the momentum to creating my fantasy self. I started literally reading stories of women that were where I was and had gotten to where I wanted to get to. And I just would I remember being on the train coming from the city, like because I was going to school. I believe I had my son at that time, and I bought like fitness magazine or bodybuilding because again, I was just naturally, I always gravitated towards those looks. I always loved it. And I remember reading the stories in the magazines of these women who were like heavy like me or even heavier, and they just transformed their body through, weight training and certain exercise. Like, and I was just like, oh my gosh, she's bad. Like, I want to be her. But I started looking at what they were doing. And I started reading the story about who they were, what their background was, and how they got to where they got to. Because what I call it is like allowing someone else to be a place card holder to your confidence. You sometimes need that when you're coming from a place of like, I don't know if I can do this. You need someone to be your place card confidence holder. So for me, it was those women there until I got up enough encouragement that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try this. If she can do this, I know I can do this. We came from, the same kind of state, the same body, and I like where she's gone. Like, I want to do this. And List her physical. I want you guys to, when you take your notebook, even if you're doing it, on your phone or whatever, in your notes section, get the picture of the person that you admire. And I want you guys to post even down here in comments, who is that person that you admire? Who is it that you look up to physically? List her physical traits and her non-physical traits. So when I say physical traits, like, yeah, like her physique, like what is it that you like about her? You like her that she's got, curvy hips, she's got great legs, great arms, like a beautiful decolletage, like six pack abs, whatever, or that, she's nice and straight and, you just love that look. Whatever it is that you like about her physicality, I want you to list it. But I also want you to list her non physical aspects. When I say non physical, I mean take the time and list what kind of energy is it giving you when you see a woman like this. So when I see a woman like this that I have here, for example, for me, it's like it shows strength, it shows confidence, it shows sexiness, it shows it gives me just like just she just oozes just like, hey, yeah, that's me. Like I love that. I love that energy. So list those words that that person non-physically gives you. What's the energy? What are the traits that she gives you? Right? She works hard. She's unique. Like those are the things that I get from that. Like she's not scared of anything. She's like up for a challenge. Like that's those are the words that I see and that I feel when I see a woman like this. Do the same for your muse, whoever it is that you admire. I want you to do the same thing. And just remember that this is a whole package experience. I want you guys to get used to seeing beyond just the physical trait, because the physical trait is just a an expression of what the internal traits that someone has had to build to express. So it's not just, okay, we wake up one morning and we're 130 pounds or whatever it is, and we have six pack abs. It's building that internal inner world so that you can have that on the outside. So you can express that on the outside. So that process to get there is so much easier. It's so fun. What are the traits that a woman like that has? So when I see a woman like this, the traits that I see are that, wow, she's really resilient, or, you know, she goes after what she wants. Wow, those are the traits that I want for myself. And I really sit back and think about it. I want to be a resilient woman. I want to be a woman that's unique. I want to be a woman that stands out. I want to be a woman that feels confident. I want to be a woman that feels super sexy, that feels great in her clothes, that has fun. Like I want to be that woman. So get even beyond the physical aspects and really start listing those other aspects, non-physical, that you want to feel and see within yourself. Because as humans, we are emotional beings. We all want, we all really behave from an emotional space. So the more descriptive that you are about this woman that you're trying to be or that you want to become, the more emotion you're going to have attached to it. The more emotion that you have attached to it, the more likely you are to follow through with the behaviors that you need to adopt in order to create that woman. All right. So, step two is list how you will feel when you attain this body. So, again, it kind of goes back off of, the previous, her non physical traits. But let's go into a little more deeper. How do you think you're going to feel when you attain this body? And because remember, you guys, at the end of the day, we're not really seeking a number on the scale. That's just irrelevant. That's a neutral number that can mean anything depending on who it's on. Like it doesn't really mean anything. But you are really seeking a feeling that you believe becoming this person will give you, right? So why do you want to lose? So when you ask yourself, why do I want to lose 100 pounds? And I say to myself, well, I want to feel like comfortable in my body. I want to feel sexy. I want to feel confident. I want to feel, like I can go out into the store and put on anything that I want. I want to feel comfortable in the world that I interact in. I want to feel, proud of myself. Those are all things that you want to feel, right? Because you're seeking a feeling. You're not just seeking a number. I'm not just seeking, having six pack abs. Like, what is that? That doesn't really mean anything. That's very neutral. But it's the feeling that's attached to it. What's the feeling that I have created that is attached to that? Those are the things that you're seeking. So that step two is super duper important to becoming the person that you want to be and building that fantasy self. So, step three is I want you guys to think back on those last two slides, right? That muse, who she is physically, who she is non-physically, what are the feelings that you want to have if you became her? I want you to take that and I want you to adopt 1 to 2 aspects of her non-physical traits. Okay? Because her physical traits, right? Six pack abs, great legs, whatever, you can't adopt that overnight, right? Though that's something that's just going to come with, work that you do. But you're not chasing that anyway. What you're chasing is the feeling so that you can get there, so that you feel more confident and that, those things. So I want to be more confident. I want to feel, I want to be resilient. I want to feel joy. I want to feel lively, right? What are the 1 or 2 aspects that you want to produce? And I want you to understand, ladies, that you can produce these feelings now. You don't have to be any certain weight. You don't have to physically look any certain way. You can produce these feelings now, will help make taking action much easier. Because again, it's not about the number, it's not about the physical, it's about the feeling that you're trying to adopt. Because it's the opposite is said as well. It's the feelings that you feel about not having it now that is keeping you from acting. So it's not about physically being where you want to be. It's about you don't have those thoughts and feelings of that person who has that thing that you want. So, what are those thoughts and feelings that I would have to adopt in order for me to be on the road and get there as quickly as possible? What are the thoughts of Jennifer Lopez? What do you think her thoughts are about her body? When you watch her move, when you see her, what do you think are her thoughts about her body? For one, she is like such a lively person. She's like, when I see her, I'm like, oh damn, she is timeless. Like her body is on point. Like she looks so good. She's so energetic every time you see her. She's so full of life. And my thoughts that she probably has about herself is that, oh, I'm sexy, I'm worthy, I'm confident, right? Because she looks like she walks like that. She literally, you can literally see it when she walks around, when you see her. Like she does everything with confidence. I was watching her stories like this the other day, and she was like in the kitchen, like cooking with her kids and doing the stuff. She's like dancing and moving her body. She didn't have any makeup on, no flashy like stage wear. She was just herself in her skin, in her kitchen. And I'm like, damn, like she really lives her life. Like she really just loves everything about herself. And those are the aspects that I want to live. I want to be present. I want to feel confident regardless of what my physical body looks like, right now. I know I'm going to get there, but I want to adopt those feelings now because that's what I'm really truly after. I'm not necessarily like needing to get to this scale weight or this body type. I can do that now. So producing those feelings is about changing the thoughts that you have. So your thoughts, what thoughts, ask yourself, and my mentor said this to me, you know, especially as journal work, you can do this. Write down what are the thoughts that you would have to have in order for let's go back. First, you would write down who are you trying to become? And it can look something like, I want to become a strong, powerful woman um, that, whatever, has XYZ physical traits, right? Um, and what are the thoughts that I would, and the next question you ask yourself when you're journaling is, what are the thoughts that I need to have to become that person? So for me, a person who has those physical traits are confident, right? That person is confident. That person uh, physically they get up and they go, they don't judge themselves, right? They're not judgmental of themselves. They believe they can do anything. That's another trait. So confidence, no self-judgment, they're resilient. That person's thoughts are that I have all the tools around me. I just need to look. I'm always willing to ask for help. I reach out for help. I don't do anything alone. Like those are the thoughts that I need to have in order to feel the way this person feels, right? Can you imagine doing all of this by yourself? Like, no, like I adopt a trainer. I adopt food processes that make my life easier, as far as like types of food that I choose to buy so that I can make my life easier when I want to eat healthy. And I have low self judgment about myself when it comes to, trying something new because I've done this before and I can continue to do it. Those are the thoughts that I have. So those thoughts build feelings of joy, of confidence, of like I want to take action. Those feelings, those thoughts make me feel really good. It makes me feel unstoppable and I want to take action. So think about that. Like that's your homework for tonight, is going to be to choose one or two aspects that you want to adopt. So if it were me, for example, an aspect that I would choose to follow, a non-physical aspect that I would choose to follow is that my body is strong. Like I believe I am strong. I am strong. I really am strong. Like I've proved it to myself. So if I believe that I'm strong, how would I behave? What are the thoughts that I would have? I wouldn't have thoughts of, oh, I'm so weak. I wouldn't talk to myself like that. I wouldn't say, oh, well, I can't do that. I don't have thoughts of I can't because I'm strong. Those are thoughts that I have. So take the time to adopt some non physical traits about the people that you admire, the muses that you have, and ask yourself, okay, what are the thoughts that I need to have to adopt feeling sexy, for example, right? Um, so for me, oh, I'm sexy. Well, guess what? There's something about yourself that you find sexy right now. There is something about yourself. There's something that your partner has found sexy about yourself. And remember, we can use place card holders for our confidence until we build it up. But it's a matter of practicing those things too. You don't get better or good at something until you practice it. The only reason why negative thoughts are so strong in your mind about your body and what you can accomplish is because you practice those thoughts. You practice those thoughts today. I'm sure that before you watch this live that you probably weren't really paying much attention to the constant thoughts that you have because we have so many a day and that they repeat and they're negative. I'm sure you didn't really have that much awareness about them. But right now, you can choose day one at this very moment to track my thoughts, what I have, what thoughts that I have about myself. And now I can build a habit of having more positive thoughts, which will trigger positive feelings and make me more likely to take the action that I need to take. So choose one or two positive non-physical aspects and live them now. How would that future me behave? Ask those questions from this day forward. Wow, how would that future me behave? And you could even say it in the aspect of the muse, right? From the point of your muse. So if I was starting today, I'd be like, "Ah, well, I wonder how J Lo would handle this. How would she handle this if I needed to, get up tomorrow and start, exercising, and she hadn't been working out for a long time, but she's been there before. But let's pretend like she's just getting, back into being physical again. What would she do? How would she think? She'd probably be thinking things like, oh, I can do it. I've done hard things before. I just need to take baby steps at a time. Like having those positive thoughts flowing through your mind. And you start noticing it gives you a different energy. It gives you an open energy. It gives you an energy that makes you want to keep going. So that's it, you guys, for day one. I want you guys to take seriously getting these notes down and really taking the time, even if it's 15 minutes in your day, 15 minutes tonight before you go to bed. Let this all sink in and really allow yourself to think about who is it that really inspires me? Who is it that I want to become from this day forward? Who is it that I'm trying to create within me? And before you know it, not only will you start adopting those aspects about you. But you guys, that muse is not for you to just like hang on to and just be like, oh, I gotta be like a Rihanna, I gotta be like J-Lo, I gotta be like whomever. It's not about that. It's really about using them as a place card holder for yourself until you build up that fantasy in yourself. They're just like little touch points of inspiration that you can use here and there because let's be honest, we live in a world that doesn't support positive thinking this way. It doesn't support it. So we do need to have like our arsenal of inspiration. We need to build a foundation. We need to build a community of support. And I will say it, and I will never stop saying it. Support is so important. Having community is so important, especially when you're doing something that it goes against what most people choose to do and how most people choose to live. You have to be open to receiving help, and you deserve help. You deserve to be supported. You deserve to feel the ease of it all. You really do. And being able to accept it and take it in. So I hope this was helpful. You guys, if you have any questions at all about today's live, about today's creating your fantasy self, I want you to let me know. Make sure, do I have any more? Oh, I got a few more slides. Excuse me. Do I? No, I don't. That number was um, deceiving me. But if you guys have any questions about it, even if you're watching it later, feel free to post comments in the comment section. You can even private message me anything that you have that you need help with, anything you want me to expound upon. I am here. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. This was so fun for me to give this presentation. This was so fun for me to talk about, you guys. You truly can create whomever that you want to be. You just have to have the right tools in place and to be willing to start shifting the way that you are seeing your world, the way that you see where you're trying to go. Because that's exactly where it started for me. I had to change the way I was seeing things. I had to change the way that I was doing things. And it was a process, but it was something that I built on it. It built on itself, built on itself, built on itself. And the momentum went so fast, you guys, when I started adopting these behaviors and these thought processes and these feelings and these actions it it happened so quickly. Like I just felt like I quantum leaped to where I wanted to go in such a short period of time by keeping these methods and tools, constantly with me. And I still do it now. I constantly keep these methods and tools, positive self-talk, breath work, and even like musing, like using muses and using people that inspire me, and even just talking to myself. All of these things, community, surrounding myself with community, it never stops. I'm constantly looking to surround myself with people who inspire me and help me push to where I want to go and who are living in the lifestyle that I want to live as well. You have to give yourself that edge. You have to give yourself that foundation so that it feels easier. It feels much more fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this today. Let me check in here, make sure oh, that's me talking. So let me know, you guys, if you have any questions, post below. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow for day number 2. Same time, same place. I will put up a reminder as well, and I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya. All right, let's go back.